I hate this job. I hate this job. Job.
Don't even have to come into the office. I can do this job from home.
I need this place like I need a shotgun blast to the face.
Fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.
Who's coming with me?
Everybody, welcome back to My Stupid Job podcast. My name is Aaron Jarbo, and my guest today is Darren Capozzi, actor, comedian. Coolest thing about you, though, your most defining neat feature is that you are my downstairs neighbor. You live directly below me. If you were home instead of up here, you could hear this stomping. Correct?
Which I normally do every day. So.
Yeah, you're welcome. By the way,
that's okay.
Yeah,
but I actually, before we even knew each other, your wife, who was wonderful, you told her to stop walking around in the morning because I could hear it.
In heels, yeah.
In heels.
Her routine when she gets ready for work is she gets dressed from the floor up. She goes heels first, and then the rest of the outfit, because she builds her outfit around her shoes, and she's clunking around. I'm like, I don't know who lives below us, but he probably hates you. And I found out that it was you, and you do hate her. And
I hate her so much.
So,
that gives me this visceral. When I see her, this visceral feeling of just wanting to kill.
So
Rambo. Period.
It was actually a pretty cool little coincidence. We ran it. We're both in the comedy world. We ran into each other at a mic, and I was like, I think you live directly below me. Is that true? I mean, I don't see a lot of people out in the halls. This isn't a very big building.
This building feels like it's Armageddon. It feels like the zombie apocalypse, because I don't know if this happens to you. I'll be in the elevator, and 1 out of 1,000 times, there's someone will be on the other side when it opens up.
9 out of 1,000 is still a pretty
good year. I know 9 out of 1,000. Because I was gonna say 9 out of 10 times. I messed it up in the first place. So Should we start this over? Cool. I'm gonna end.
That's
with
lunch.
This. Thank you.
So we're here, sunny California. You were a very funny comedian, and in this podcast, we're going to talk to comedians about their jobs and their gripes with the workplace. And I'm kind of also really obsessed with what people were doing for work before they became comedians, and if their mundane, crappy day job led to them realizing they were like a funnier person or anything like that. We live in Los Angeles. I run a Instagram account called Stupid Resumes, and I'm a self-proclaimed subject matter expert in job hating, and wanted to sit down and chat with funny people about that subject. So, when we kick it off, I'll just do this first thing. Do you remember what your first job was? Nice protein shake. By the way.
Either I'm really small.
Yeah, or that's the biggest.
So my first job.
If you're watching on there's video and audio of this. If you're watching the video, Darren, if you're not watching on the video, Darren is drinking the biggest protein shake ever made. He's drinking it out of the thing that you blended in.
Yeah.
He didn't pour it into a cup.
No.
That's how he rolls. He's like, hey, I'm walking upstairs to do a podcast. That's all. I'm taking my whole apartment with me. You moved in, basically.
I pretty much moved in. Yeah. I'm actually, if you don't know that, I've actually put clothes in your closet.
It's okay.
When you went downstairs. And I removed all your wife's heels.
We're about the same size, so it's fine.
So my first job, I worked in a restaurant. I was a waiter, and I was a terrible waiter. But I loved entertaining the tables. And actually, every time, and it was at a restaurant that I guess gave quarterly reports, like who was the best tipper and who was I was always on the tail end of the worst. Like if back in the day there was ratings, I got 0 stars.
How, if Yelp existed, how old were you at the time? 15, 16?
15, 16, and then I did it in my 20s. Mm-hmm. Well, my first job, I was a busboy, and I was terrible at it. But I only lasted 2 days, and then they fired me.
Do you know exactly what it was that got you fired? Like was there one thing that you did, and they were like, oh, that? Bye.
I was 15 years old. No, I don't. God, I wish I had something funny to say about that.
I mean, it's just...
I was 15.
I feel like 2 days isn't a long enough time for them to really evaluate.
I remember them. I called and they're like, yeah, we're not going to, you don't need to come back. So I don't know.
It's not working out.
It's not working out. You don't know how to clean the table. So baby, I guess I didn't know how to bust a table quick enough.
Is it bust or bus?
No.
We'll Google it afterwards.
Busted makes me feel good. So
bust a move. I have so many questions about that because I never, out of all the shitty jobs that I had, I've never worked in a restaurant. And that's, I mean, like some people consider that kind of like a workplace rite of passage. Everybody should do that just so you know how to treat wait staff when you're out, and you know that asking for ranch dressing as urgently as people do. that whole thing. It comes from those are people who have never worked in a restaurant before. Do you feel like that's true?
What was the question?
I don't even know.
It's something about ranch dressing.
Do you like ranch dressing? I think that should have been the question.
Do you like? Here's the thing. I used to work. So I got fired. Every waiter job I've been fired from. There comes a limit where they're like, yeah, you're fun energy, and then they're like, this what?
Too fun,
too
much
or
energy.
Or this guy actually doesn't give a shit about his job, because I never really give a shit about it. Because I used to work. Remember the Village Idiot down the street in L.A.
Yeah,
I got fired from that.
Really? I go there all the time.
So let's backtrack. So first of all, they used to give quarterly tests.
Okay. Well,
and I never studied, but I'd always sit next to someone, and they would never let me cheat off of them. I was like, "What are we doing?"
How many questions is it? Multiple choice essay?
Dude,
What's the
essays? You had to
Scantron?
answer. Like, it was like many Scantrons. Yeah. No, they ask questions about fucking pairing wines and fruit. Can I swear?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't want to swear. I didn't want to. Can we take that back? Are you stopping the computer? What's happening?
Do you see that?
We didn't even start, did we?
Everything started except for the timer, and I did kind of want to have. So see that number there? Just add 4 minutes to it.
Fine.
Yeah.
What was my train of thought?
Something about failing a test at the Village Idiot.
Yeah, so you used to have to take tests, and if you failed it, you get suspended.
Shout out Village Idiot. If you do want to sponsor this podcast, do it right now and not in a few minutes when Darren says a bunch of shitty things about your restaurant.
Listen, guys are great at the Village Idiot. Owners are great. I got fired on false pretenses. So there was this really mean, obnoxious woman who, let me set the record straight. Yes, there was a lot of times I went up to the table and I probably wasn't the best waiter most of the time. Let's be honest. But this woman had a gripe up her butt, and it was she didn't like me for some reason.
Grape up her butt?
Yeah,
okay.
Gripe up her butt. Gripe with something, right? So after she left, she called the Village Idiot and said when she was walking outside, I gave her the middle finger. So you know how the Village Idiot has glasses. So I stood in the middle of the restaurant, and I gave her the finger as she walked by.
Okay. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But you did do it?
I did not do it.
Oh, okay. And there was no way for them to confirm whether.
But then, yeah, there's no way to confirm. But I was like, well,
it was her word against yours.
But I was like, well, and if I stood up in the middle of the restaurant, wouldn't there have been one
other person
witness that said, "Hey, this dude just gave the middle finger to someone"?
Yeah. And she was a colleague. She was a fellow server, not upper management.
No, she was a patron.
A patron
who called in and lied.
Wasn't even one of your patrons?
It was someone I was waiting tables on.
Do you remember if there was an incident that would have led her to lie?
No. I was just I remember being tired. I wasn't that personable. I just was, and I'm sure she didn't get my personality. Look, sometimes people don't get you, which is fine. Listen, there's many times I walked to the table and I was like, you can go F yourself. I did say that many a time, like ready to get fired. So in their defense, yes, there's times that I was not the best waiter. Well, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, you should be, obviously. But for people who may be listening to this that from cities that aren't LA specifically, but also maybe New York, Chicago, San Francisco, some of the bigger ones.
I wish you named all the states.
Every city that starts with a letter.
You just named all the states?
Let's just keep it at LA and New York. New York, let's just keep it at LA. Let's just keep it at LA.
Let's just stay right here.
Let's stay right here in West Hollywood. If you're at a restaurant, just know that your server doesn't want to be doing that job. They're an actor. They're absolutely an actor, and they're doing that until they get their role. And that's another thing that I think is going to be fun about this podcast is, finding out what shitty job people had right before they went on to do something great. Do you remember the right down the street, the Cat and the Fiddle?
Yeah, of course. I think I've done shows there.
Waitress was not open anymore. It's something else. And it's been like 4 things since then. But that was like one of my favorite spots until they shut it down. It was like cool, cute.
Didn't have a pool table in the room?
No. Well,
I make that up.
You made that up. I mean, I'm not saying at one point there wasn't one there. Maybe there was a back place that had darts and stuff, but
that's the room
they're mostly known for that outside cute little
Yes.
patio with the lights, and it was you would almost I moved to LA 12 years ago, and every time I went, I almost would always see some form of a celebrity there, and I thought it was pretty cool. So if I had somebody visiting from out of town, we would go there. We'd see, B-list, C-list kind of people, but it was still like neat to be out mingling with them. One of the things that I will always think is cool about Los Angeles, but the only reason I even went down this story talking about that place is because they're. Do you watch The Walking Dead?
Of course.
I don't. But the main girl on there was right before she got that part, I think, was a server at the.
Oh, cool! Because the cast is of 37 cast members.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't even be like the blonde or whatever. Because I don't
which
even
one?
watch it. I don't know. I just remember watching her on Kimmel or something and be like, yeah, right before this, I was a server at. Now I even don't remember the name of the restaurant that we were just talking about.
Cat in the Fiddle.
Cat in the Fiddle, yeah.
Wow, dude, you have dementia.
Yeah, I do. You bring that out of me. I've learned since we've been friends.
You're welcome. I can't believe I just did that for you.
So back
yes.
to the restaurant industry.
But now I really want to look through what this person is up.
Yeah, we'll figure it out later.
You couldn't even remember what restaurant it was 3 seconds ago. Do you think we're going to figure it out later?
And then that restaurant was the reason for that story. Who cares? Is there anything that you got out of working in the restaurant industry that now that you have worked in a restaurant, you'll never, as a customer, you'll never do that thing ever?
I'll never treat it. I'll never ever treat it. And have you ever been on a first date with someone who's treated a wait staff poorly or someone in the service industry? I'm like, you're out.
Yeah, I think
because I know anytime someone comes to the table who's in a bad mood and someone's like, "What's wrong with them?" I go,
has nothing to do with me.
It's nothing. You have no idea what happened to them.
And in the back, if they're getting chewed out or something, like well, that's the case for pretty much everything. And like if, I mean, even hypothetically, if my wife could come home from work and she's in a bad mood, it's not I haven't seen you all day. It's what you were dealing with at work, and now you brought that home, and let's walk through this. But like, there could have been another table that ruined her day, and you showed up just at the wrong time. But yeah, I don't think it's a thing anymore that people are just like inherently rude to wait staff like on purpose. It's like a power move. I remember people like, and as the guy to say that, like if you're on a date with a girl and she was a dick to the wait, that's weird. But
it's weird.
Guys used to do that all the time. Like you would watch like movies or like these 80s like Wall Street-y kind of guys, like just really big time in the wait staff. Like, dude, they touch your food. What? If there was one person on earth you shouldn't fuck with.
Yeah, they have the biggest. They're in the power until you get your food.
Until you get your food, they're
God.
Own your ass. And even when it comes down, if there's something wrong with it, I'm still not sending it back. I've never done that in my life. I've never sent something back because I feel that. I feel them like rolling their eyes at me for like being super complaining about something that's not that big a deal, and my food's gonna go back and it's gonna come back with all of their pubes on it, or whatever.
And you know what? I think in the history of restaurants, I guarantee worse things have happened.
Yeah. I
mean,
do you have any of those? Do you guys intentionally fuck with people's food? You don't have to say the restaurant or anything. We are no longer talking about the Village Idiot.
No one did that at the Village Idiot. Listen.
That's a great place. I go there all the time.
It's a great place. One of the owners was really a dick, and he used to yell at people. Like, yell. And now he's got kids. I'm sure those kids shake in their boots. But he was the reason they didn't believe me. And that's what really got me angry. They didn't believe me. I said, what are you talking about? I didn't flip someone off. I was like, I would have told them to go F themselves before I flipped something. Like, the last time you gave someone the middle finger. Yeah. When's the last time but by the way, when you give someone the middle finger, it feels really good. Yeah. Like, out of rage. But that being said, that next night, the reason I got fired, I did my first bringer show. And if I didn't get fired, I wouldn't have done that bringer show for stand-up.
And that was everything for you.
That was everything for me.
That changed it.
So her lie, her calling was when people want to say universe or a unicorn or a crystal or just luck. Yeah. Her calling to lie is the reason why I do stand-up and crowd warm-up.
In your okay, well, we'll get to that in a second, like what you're doing right now. But
sorry, did I jump the gun?
No, it's fine. We're flying by the seat of our pants.
So if you're just listening to this, forget that, and let's go back to the Cat and Fiddle. Who was the actress?
I'm not gonna, even if I don't watch that show. So even if I looked it up, I still wouldn't know. I'd be like, my best guess would be like that girl.
Was she a Caucasian or African American?
She was a Caucasian.
Caucasian.
Listen, no one cares. Somebody cares. Somebody else has worked at Cat and Fiddle and been like, I was gonna try to make it too, and they didn't. But
they're probably still there, even though it's fire.
Yeah,
it doesn't work anymore.
They sleep in the patio at night. It's cozy. It's Los Angeles, California, best place to be homeless on planet Earth. I have to assume. So even not having a job here is equally as good as having a job here, according to a lot of those tents I see down Sunset Boulevard.
Our homeless are really good at making forts.
Yeah, they are.
They've missed their Super Bowl. They should just open up a fort store because they know how to make forts. I walk past some of those things. I'm like, that's a badass fort.
I walk past some of them and I'm like, this guy's tent is bigger than my apartment, and I pay $80,000 a month to live in Los Angeles, and he's on the sidewalk right in front of my house for free in a tent bigger than my apartment. Obviously, those are exaggerated numbers, but still, some big tents out there, and I don't know who's.
The churches give out the tents.
Do they?
That's what I've heard. Yeah, I heard the churches are the leading cause, and if not, let's start that rumor.
Leading cause of tents is churches.
Apparently, they hand out. That's what I read somewhere. Listen, I don't even know how to read. What am I talking about? Someone told me that. I make up a lot of things sometimes, but I did hear that.
Leading cause of all tents, churches.
Yeah. So I remember when I used to wait tables. I was so bad because all I'd want to do is talk. I loved the part of waiting tables was like going up, hey, shamalama ding dong dung dung dung, and I used to love when someone would be like, hey, can I get a refill on a Coke and a Diet Coke? And I'd be like, no problem. And then I'd be like, yes, and then I'd turn and go.
And it's the two easiest items.
And I'd be like,
but they're
Coke Diet Coke, Coke Diet Coke.
I think after a while, and again, I've never worked in that certain level of service industry before, or in a restaurant, and you rattle off your orders to these people who. It does seem impressive when they're like not writing anything.
You're a wizard to me.
And then they go back. Yeah, but also if you think about like anything that let's say they've worked there for 7 years and it's just been the same menu the entire time, they know that thing like the back of their hand, and they're going back and just boop boop boop. I got it. I remember this guy extra ranch, that guy no bacon on his burger.
Always comes back to ranch with you.
Listen.
Where are you at? TGI Fridays?
In this scenario?
Yeah,
I'm everywhere.
Ranch.
If I go. I don't order ranch. Like there are people that like get food that shouldn't have ranch on it, and they're like, "Side of ranch, please." I'm like, you ordered pizza. Like you don't no real good authentic pizza. If you were in Italy and you asked for ranch.
So one of the shows I do warm up on before they enter, I give out fresh carrots, like little baby carrots.
Yeah, I got some in my fridge if you want.
And the
chew
audience
them really loud.
And the audience always go, "Where's the ranch?"
Get out. Get out.
By the way, they're not joking.
Oh, it's one of those that you're there for a long time, so you gotta keep them nourished and feed them some sugar every once in a while.
Yeah, I like to give them a healthy snack before they enter the room.
I went to a taping of the reboot of American Gladiators the year that I moved here with Hulk Hogan.
Oh wow!
And it was a long day. Like the shoots are a really long day, and they needed an audience. And they didn't want anybody to leave, so they kept throwing out like granola bars, whatever the Cliff Bar equivalent back then was, and just keep you happy. Here's some sugar. Here's a Snickers. We got now cheer for the red guy.
Yep. That's what it's like in my show.
So currently right now your job, and aside from being you are a comedian. It's not even embarrassing to say we don't make a lot of money as comedians. We get paid sometimes, but for the most part it's
practice.
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 But you have what I think most other comedians are very jealous of. Your day job is you are a crowd warm-up guy for a game show out in Los Angeles, and you can say the name of the show if you want.
I love my show. It's called Funny You Should Ask. Okay. We're on at 2 o'clock and 2:30 CBS in LA. It's amazing. We're on season 3. We've already done over 250 episodes.
And for people who aren't as industry savvy or know the behind the curtains of something like that, what does that job entail? What's a crowd warm up guy do?
So depends which show. My show I'm on. So I've done this has led to other shows. For example, I've been lucky enough to do America's Got Talent. I did World of Dance. I did Titan. And
Titan Games, the rock show.
The rock show. My show is a paid audience. Okay, so meaning there's a group of people in this town that go from show to show. This is a culture that their job is to be paid and sit in audiences.
Correct.
So they call me Adam Levine on the show. I don't think I'll look at Adam Levine all, but like if I go to another show, I'll hear, "Yo, Adam Levine," and then I'll see the same faces over and over again. So so basically, for example, America's Got Talent's not paid audience. They want to be there. So when I first did that, I was like, "What's up, everybody?" And it was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, this was like to be Bruce Springsteen. Should have picked up the guitar.
Should have picked it up. So a paid audience and a not paid audience, despite the fact that they are getting a check, albeit likely a small one, they are getting paid to sit in a chair and watch a show live.
Right.
A live taping of a game show.
So
And those crowds are a little bit harder. But essentially you are doing crowd work stand up to
and stand up to an audience. So what happens is so as soon as they load the audience, the last butt is in the seat, the stage manager says, "Go get them." So it doesn't matter what time it is, you got to grab that mic and then you got to warm them up. So it's especially the type of comedian I am on stage is a totally different comedian when I do warm up, because you have to become their best friend.
Right.
You can't alienate them. Can't make fun of them. So your crowd work is more or less kind of, belittle myself a little bit. It's a little bit more self-deprecating. I'm a little more sillier, more goofier. Is this making sense? I feel like I feel like I'm boring you. I feel like you just looked away like you saw dead people.
I looked away because there is at one point I'm going to have to press the button on a camera. But
does the audience know that we have cameras facing us?
They will when. I hope if they're watching this, the assumption is that it was recorded by a camera.
They didn't think it was a wizard making magic potions.
No one is gonna watch this.
Nah, I think that's not true.
I think my mom will watch it.
Great.
She's a big fan of your stand-up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
She has no idea. Your mom has no idea who I am.
They were in town a couple weeks ago, and I was like,
Did you show up for them all my stand-up?
Yeah, I did. And I was like, this is the guy who lives directly below me. I remember that was when I went downstairs to help you move your record player. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of stuff that we do as neighbors.
Which was really sweet of you.
Have you got it back yet?
No, they didn't actually responded to my text.
This is such an LA thing. Just this morning, woke up to a text or a call. It was I ignored your text. I was doing dishes or something. Mm-hmm. You get a call. And you're like, "Are you home?" I was like, "Yeah, Mom. What's up?" And you're like, "I'm coming up." And I get up here and you have a pile of your own clothes in your hand. And you're like, "I need you to take a headshot for me." And you do like 45 looks. We're grabbing all these shots. It's for a commercial. And I hope you get it. But that's some LA neighbor actor comedian shit right there that you don't that's not your cup of sugar. Can I borrow a cup of sugar?
Yeah, no. That's something that doesn't only happen in LA. By the way, I was on the treadmill when they called and said, "You need to stop what you're doing."
Where do you work out?
A couple of gyms. I like to give my money away. 24-hour fitness and Gold's Gym.
I was told when I moved into this building, I've been living here for 5 years, that there is a gym, and I don't know where it is.
That's a lie.
Is there one in the?
Probably on the other side.
I've never gone over there.
Never gone over there.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
Because if you were like, I'm at the treadmill, I'd be like, will you show me where that thing is? It's been 5 years, I can't find the treadmill. Because I go to a gym too, and I if I could just do it here, I might save that $24.99 a month. Shout out to LA Fitness.
Oh, you do LA Fitness?
Yeah,
I should probably join them too. Make myself a triple threat
trifecta.
Trifecta of the gyms.
For all of those, you could cancel those and get an Equinox membership for the same price. It's like,
Equinox is like $250. I used to work at Equinox too, but I forgot about that job. I used to sell gym memberships at Equinox. Once again.
Why?
Once again, I was the worst, and when the reports came in, I mean, boo.
Why?
And
if you could remember back to your tactics, why would you be able to sell somebody on a gym membership that costs 10 times more than a really good gym?
Well, back in the day, I worked in New York City, and we worked in the corporate area, so they got package deals, and I worked between two shark ladies. Sharks. So at sales, and they were so sweet. So once we hit our quota like 20 some odd months in a row, and then we make a bonus, and then say I wasn't up to my quota, they would cushion my sale. They were so sweet to me because I used to make them laugh. they would give me their sales. So then I would catch up to mine. I guess we had to sell 30 a month, whatever the hell it was. And if I was nowhere near their overflow, they would give to me. It was the easiest, best 6-figure job I ever made in my life.
That's pretty awesome. And in return, you just had to sleep with both of them at the same time
Daily.
Okay.
Inside the
I was
locker.
going to say.
Inside
I was
the
going to say
locker.
weekly. I thought it sounded like that's kind of like a weekly.
They
thing.
became like sisters to me. They're awesome. They literally. I've never seen anyone more generous. And then we would make our numbers, and then we would
We would go party, dude.
like we would make our numbers so quick that we would cover for you. What a day! What a job! But I used to love entertaining. I used to have the stupidest joke. Like when I would give tours of the place, my joke was, so say I was taking a tour to the ladies, and I would say, "This is the ladies' locker room. I can't go in there for obvious reasons."
And then just like that, they're like, "Yeah, let me buy a membership to this place."
Oh God!
I currently go to LA Fitness, which is $29.99 a month, but I would love to spend $350 a month for the same type of experience. What do you towels? What do you get? What's better? Why is it? Why would you go there?
Never.
Exclusivity?
I think it's a status thing. I mean, have you ever been to Gold's Gym? Gold's Gym, I pay $19 a month, and it's the cleanest, nicest gym I've ever been to. And it's probably just the same as good as Equinox. They got a juice bar. What else do you need?
So does my LA Fitness. $24.
$24.
$24.
Yeah.
And I walk there. I used to drive there.
For your fans who are, is Equinox across the country now? I think it's in most states or most cities. Is that not true?
I don't know.
Because when I worked there, we were only in New York.
There's one right on Sunset, right down the street.
We were a New York-based club. I was like, if I was smart and savvy, I would probably.
You're not. I know you're not.
No, not at all. I would, and if I wanted to work, I would probably be one of the head top guys at Equinox, probably making close to
70 figures.
70 figures. Yeah. I'd be up there in Forbes top. Yeah. But
I
probably
top one.
Definitely the top one with 70 figures.
It's like
he makes more money than
it's
the
a number
world.
that doesn't even exist. I don't think
he makes more money than the world. Because I know one of the girls that I work with is still there, and she does great.
What would it take for you to have to go back to a job like that? It would never happen.
Never happen.
Well, I
would blow my brains out.
Cool. I mean, not in here.
No. The walls are too white.
And
I got a new couch.
So that is a new couch.
Yeah, I would hate to ruin your new couch.
What do you think of it, by the way?
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, thanks.
It's high.
It folds out too, so if you ever want to sleep over, those three come
Sounds like it's gonna happen tonight.
You
I'm lonely.
previously mentioned something I wanted to talk about, and I don't remember what it was. So let's just stare at each other.
So crowd warm up. So on my show, it's a paid audience. So they're getting paid regardless of what they do. So it's a little bit of harder work to get them going, and then you have to really entice them. And they love candy. I mean, I always tell my audience, you guys, you realize you can go to the 99-cent store any day of the week.
Do you have to buy that candy, or is that in your budget? You expense it.
No, they supply the candy. They actually, I don't even hand it out. The audience people, the audience wranglers hand it out because they're animals.
You have crowd warm up assistants.
But I do have assistants.
For I guess so. Anyways, back to that. I guess for people who don't know, that is a really good job for a comedian because you get to do your comedy essentially every single day, and you're staying sharp. And then when it's a day job, right? Mm-hmm. So when that's over, boom, you're out at night and you're in the comedy clubs, and you get to do the thing that you actually love or the kind of comedy that you want to be doing. So it's a perfect. There's a lot of other jobs they try to I'll check Craigslist all the time, and for stuff. If you type in comedian or comedy, they want you to do those TMZ tours. They're always looking for comedians to be on the buses, driving around looking at celebrity stuff, and they want somebody that's good with on their feet and riffing with crowds and stuff. Same with on the Warner Brothers lot or any of those lots. Be a tour guide. And
how much do they want to pay for that?
Not great. It's not great.
It's not great. Like $17 an hour.
Oh, probably less actually. Maybe I don't know. I don't want to misquote them, but I remember looking into it and thinking, not worth it. And also, weekend. It's a bunch of probably weekends.
Nope.
And that's not great for us.
Nope.
It's weird what we're willing to do and to give up for this career that we've chosen. But I will not give up my weekends for bullshit.
To jump on a TMZ bus?
No.
I
mean, that's probably the brunt of their business for it's all tourists, and you just are like, hey, guess who lives there? Simon Cowell.
You could make it up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's Woody Harrelson's house.
The year that
Oh
I
my gosh,
moved
that's
here,
right, yeah, and he lives next to Bruce Willis.
Yep.
But that's all
and
I
then
would
right
say.
next door, Tom Cruise. I bought a star. You remember Star Maps?
You bought one.
I bought one when I visited here. I was still living in Kentucky, and I was like, the only souvenir that I want to take back is one of those star maps. And so I got it, and I got home and remember I was like typing in the addresses, just looking at them on like Google Maps, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this is Tom Cruise's house. And like they could tell me anyone lives there, and I would be like, yeah, I believe you.
Who's gonna question it? I love that. Wait, when you were in Kentucky, how did you know about star maps?
I saw it in a movie or a TV show or something.
All right. Because I didn't know until I got here, so that's interesting.
Oh, actually, I do. I remember the specific moment. Did you watch Entourage?
I didn't. By the way, these chairs,
Yeah.
they're short on the back.
Yeah.
These chairs are way too short on the back.
I did.
How much did you pay for these chairs? Because it's really not that comfortable. Or maybe I should need to sit up more. Maybe my posture's terrible.
Your posture's terrible, but I mean, I don't know what you need out of a chair. This has a back and a bottom. You can sit on this table. You can sit in my lap if you want.
Now the podcast is getting real.
They're not bad chairs for if you wanted to know how much I paid for them. Not a lot.
They look really nice for your audience, your fans.
They
who don't know. This is dripping, so I don't want to get any water on it.
No, I don't care. There is a company called Wayfair, and they have pretty good looking furniture for not that much. And there is normally a where you are in my apartment right now. There's normally like a really big one chair here, like a comfortable chair, and
That you share?
It's over there, and I put the two chairs here for the podcasting. So I was like, I just need two chairs that match that would look good on camera. So I bought these, and they're probably like less than $200 for both of them. Not each, $200 total.
And it shows.
And they are gonna go.
Wow.
I mean, they're gonna go. These are gonna end up in a landfill one day, so they need to be
Broken in?
Yeah. But they're getting the job done right now. I might move if you can see.
Are you moving?
You see? No. I might move the podcast to that table.
I was gonna say don't move because you're my favorite.
Yeah,
and you're the only person.
you're the
I know.
only
and I
person.
think that camera's done.
Oh,
So
cool.
So I can stay here and keep talking while we do that. So here's the thing about crowd warm up, and I'm very lucky, very grateful for those audience don't know that anytime the show is not taping, you have to keep the audience warm. Anytime anything happens, so if there's a hiccup, a mic goes out, a light goes out, you're on. And so we had about 2 months ago, show. I got them going. The crowd was great, hot. We warmed them up. Show started, top of the show. They're into it, and all of a sudden, the whole studio goes dark. Did I tell you this story?
No. Maybe.
like,
I don't listen to you a lot when you talk outside of this podcast. I was like, hey,
Dad?
it's a great story. Save it for the podcast. If we're gonna talk, I want.
That's what he tells me every time.
No, it's Dad.
Dad?
So, studio goes dark.
Studio goes dark, and it's like, oh my, I can just feel it. And then, by the way, and there's 6 of the top comedians working on stage, so they're also hearing you. With fabulous comics like Louis Anderson. By the way, if I can do a shout out to Louis Anderson, he's the coolest dude.
You can. I'll allow.
He's amazing. He's a comic. He's sweet. He is generous and hilarious, obviously. Anyway, so you got that type of comic. And can I just say, we both have hummingbird feeders on our dueling balconies, and I have not seen you. I've seen 17 to the 0 I've seen on my balcony.
That's I got that just a couple weeks ago. I got it from when my parents were visiting, and they just like to sit on my balcony and people watch. Live in a kind of a busy neighborhood in West Hollywood here, and so I put the hummingbird feeder out there, and that provided a week's worth of entertainment for my 60-plus-year-old parents.
Well, let me tell you something.
And now I'm in my 30s, and I think I'm like, this is life for me. I sit right here and I'll just look out there and watch hummingbirds drink sugar water on my balcony.
I need to get that same one and figure out your mix. Anyway, so the power goes out, and this is crowd warm up, and all of a sudden the back generate, and so the lights start slowly coming on, and the stage manager says, "All right, go get him." I go, "I don't have a mic." He says, "Well, you've got a voice."
This is the voice.
So 40 minutes later, I was doing crowd work. 40 minutes later.
You were still doing it with no mic?
No, mic eventually came on, but I did it for 40 minutes.
And that's a lot of, do you isolate people in the crowd, where are you from, what do you do, stuff like that, or is
Stuff
it all
like that.
all at once?
Well, I got lucky because at one point some huge dude started walking down the steps. Just got up, started walking. I was like, "Hey man, where are you going?" And I was like, "Oh, like actually, you know what? Anywhere he wants. That's who's really going to stop him.
Who's stopping him?
No one's going to stop him."
Well, so if it's a paid audience, you probably see some of the same people on more than one occasion. So do you ever? You're like, oh, hey, Bill is back. Bill, how was your vacation to Bali? Or
First of all, you have never seen my audience. They couldn't even do a vacation to Van Nuys, but Bali, much less.
They're basically the same?
Yes.
Van
No,
Nuys.
they. I don't remember names. You know what I mean? I barely know your name.
It rhymes with yours, so that's.
Kind of. But I get a lot of hugs. I've been doing the show. I mean, the same faces over and over and over and over. I mean, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it as a living.
The audience part.
Mm-hmm.
What is? I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can take.
That's my.
It's probably your agent.
Actually, you know what it is? Is this his cell phone? I'll text him first. I'm just getting out of a meeting in about 2 minutes. Yes, it is. Sorry.
Read your texts on the podcast. I'm kidding. Don't do it.
No, so I have a TV show. I don't want to say the name of the show. Just asked me to warm up, maybe possibly checking dates.
Oh, this is for what you're checking right now.
So my manager, this is so well.
Darren did warn me right before the podcast started that he may be getting a really important text or call about a show that, again, we won't mention, but it's huge, that he could be potentially doing crowd warm-up for. So I said, if you want to take the call on the podcast or if anything happens, we need to pause, please don't. Don't let me get in the way of your dreams, Darren.
Well, the problem is... Anyway, so the good thing that came from this warm-up, I got a warm-up manager. She's awesome. I have a warm-up manager. I have a manager, guys.
Do you want to shout her out, or you don't have to? But
she's amazing.
She sounds pretty amazing.
So she's texting me right now.
She's texting me.
So I sent her the info because of the.
I didn't even. There's so many different kinds of agents in the entertainment world. You can have a commercial agent, you can have a print, you can have theatrical, and I didn't know there was a warm-up agent only.
So talk about. So I don't know if this is your experience. I've gotten the most help in LA from strangers. So I have friends who could, like showrunner friends, guys who could be like, yeah, just give him a role.
I absolutely, I'll agree with that. Or the absolute polar opposite of, or just another way of wording that same sentence is, I've gotten the least amount of help from people who theoretically could help me at any moment.
At any moment.
And they just don't.
They don't.
Yeah. Like, people don't, like, I worked really hard or whatever. I've lucked into this role. I'm not going to just give it to you, too. Like, you got to go find your own luck, dumbass. And I don't know if what's right and what it feels shitty, but the most help that I've gotten is from people who you meet in a one situation thing and they're like, I really like your charisma, you're a great guy, you seem pretty funny, let me float your name to these execs over here. And yeah, absolutely, that's been those have been my, I wouldn't consider myself as someone who's made it, but all of my coolest things that have happened to me since I've lived in Los Angeles have come, I think, in that vein. And
that's how I got her.
Yeah.
Some person I've never met, and she said, I think you're great, and I want to introduce you. And that's could happen a lot in this town by theoretically friends we know. Sure. But which is great. Very grateful for. I mean, the reason I got very lucky to get. Do you want to know how I became a crowd warm-up comic, or no one really cares?
I mean, if you think it's something that people should care about, I care about it. I'd like to hear it.
So the show that I'm on, Funny You Should Ask.
Yeah.
I was brought in to interview for the pilot. I met the execs, and they were like, hey, have you ever done crowd warm-up? Have you ever done warm-up for a TV show? I was like, nah. I was like, but I do crowd work, and, I'm personable. And they were like, okay, we'll go get a job. And they liked me. At the end of the day of the interview, they liked me, but I didn't have the experience. And they literally said, we'll go get a job in crowd warm-up and come back to us.
Oh, yeah, you did tell me the story, but you can finish it.
And then I was like, okay, well, see you never?
I guess never, then.
Never, because you know how that's just as easy as getting a looping job.
Yeah, well, that'd be like Chris Pratt showing up and be like, hey, I'd like to be in Guardians of the Galaxy. And he'd be like, okay, go audition for another Guardians of the Galaxy movie, get that, and then we'll hire you for this. It's literally the same ask, almost. Like, I can't get the job that I'm trying to get unless you already have the job that you want. That's another huge gripe I have with the workplace and like a lot of things, just not entertainment related, but like how much experience you need to get a job that should require no experience, or like, hey, you need 3 years experience to get this job. I don't. It's just it's anyways.
But the problem is the people who they forget that they feel like they were just woke up and then they were experts.
Right.
And everyone who's had a job, someone helped them.
You can't get a job without experience. You can't get experience without having
help.
a job. That's kind of the thought that was going down.
And
a second ago.
someone helped them along the way.
Right.
Absolutely. And people forget that. Someone forgets. People forget that life is about reaching back, and pulling people up with you.
Send the elevator back down.
Yeah, pull
It's a
people.
phrase.
But a lot of people, they're narcissists and egos, and they're like, well, I did this on my own because I'm amazing. But like, did you? Because someone gave you a shot.
So you were told in order to get a crowd work job,
For
you
this show,
you had to go get another crowd work job.
and then for your fans, as you just said,
It's, hey, I know you want to work here, but you need some experience working here before we'll let you work here. Is essentially the messaging. It's so stupid.
so stupid.
And I hate it with every job, anything anything that you want to do, whatever, graphic design, doesn't matter. Oh, how many years do you have doing that? None. I need to start. So someone let me work a little bit so I can get another job doing it eventually. For those of you watching the video podcast, Darren just got some great news on his text. I can see it from here.
She just she's anyway. The problem is I warm up, but it's boring. It's a warm up gig. Anyway, so I literally was like, well, I'll never see you guys again. So and then I think a week or 2 weeks later, I get a call to warm up my friend's show out of the blue, and I was like, yeah, okay.
What?
Which was
there's a lot of people. I mean, like again, I mentioned that's kind of a great job for comics. What's the worst part about that job?
because you're a babysitter.
You're-
You become a babysitter at times. You have to be a police, good cop, bad cop.
Only the audience, or like what's the?
Well,
because who do you report to?
The exact. So if you do like a big show like America's Got Talent, you got that whatever that earpiece is called in your ear.
It's just called an earpiece, I think.
Yeah, they call it something else, but I don't remember. But you have the exact screaming in your ear, telling them, and these are people who aren't entertainers saying, get them going, and they're like, well, they're exhausted.
Yeah.
Like as a comic, we've both seen audiences. There's a point where you're like, well, why don't we let them rest?
Yeah.
And then bring them back, because no one on the planet can keep clapping in energy forever. Like, I don't care how funny you are. Eventually you're gonna be like, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, and well, earlier you mentioned had you not gotten fired from that server job at Village Idiot, you wouldn't have got to do your first bringer show. You remember we would talk about what a bringer show is?
Yeah, bringer show is it's pay to play, pretty much.
And by pay, you mean it's bring your own crowd. So let's say it's a show and there's 8 comedians on it, and each they say they'll be like, hey, can you bring 5 to 10 people?
Mm-hmm.
And
For
so
5 minutes of comedy.
to do 5 minutes of comedy, and it's usually this is like one of your first shows ever, so you're like thrilled to do it, and a lot of your friends at this point in your career haven't seen you do stand up, so they're excited to come watch you do it for the first time. And those are people who have left their house to go see a stand up show. So you're propped up to win, you know what I mean? And they're even more so, they're there to see you. So you can fart into the microphone and you're going to get laughs.
They think it's hilarious.
That is not what you're doing at your crowd work job. That's like an open mic at a bar where there's also a playoff game happening in the background. You're like, that's like
Or Kobe Bryant's last game ever as a Laker.
oh yeah, you did that, didn't you? That happened.
Yeah.
I
did a show where he was the last time going on the
Those
court,
are like my least favorite.
and the whole audience got up and walked to the bar.
Yeah, and yeah. So there are times like that in the comedy world out here that you have to do shows for people who don't want to see comedy. You're just like, hey guys, here I'm going to attack you with some jokes right now, and feel free to have your back facing my direction while you're sitting at the bar eating chicken wings or whatever. It's so bad. And that's probably the closer example to a paid audience versus like if you did America's Got Talent, people want to be there. That's your bringer show. That's your crowd work bringer show.
That's your crowd work bringer show, yeah.
Anything you do, they're into it.
They were so into everything I said when I did America's Got Talent. And I said, this is the easiest warm-up job I've ever done. But that being said, funny you should ask, has really trained me. I mean, it's been, the best training on site. You know what I mean? Like just thrown into the fire, just like, here you go.
For anyone who might watch your stand-up clips on YouTube, I mean, you do. I've seen you 100 million times. I think I've been counting, and You do material, but you also are very good at crowd work, and I think that muscle for you must get worked and flexed a lot during your job, and that's why you're such a good crowd work comedian. I don't do any crowd work at all. I know every word that's going to come out of my mouth in the order that's going to come out of it when I'm on stage, and that's the only way that I can do it. If something happens during the show, I'm like, I'm screwed. I don't know. It threw my whole game off. I had an exact way that I was going to say this, and you just ruined my night. But you are so much better about riffing, and it has to be from your job.
Just from failing.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if it's not failing, but like you have to.
You have no choice. You have
no choice.
You have to do it. Well, I mean, yeah, they throw it. You have to start doing crowd work. And it's just a matter of, it's like a little bit of a game. I always said if you let the audience talk, they'll talk themselves into a joke. Always. You let them speak. The audience will pitch you. They'll throw you a softball of a joke that you can bat out of the play.
Some people, but then you all like there is always, usually, not always, but sometimes someone in the crowd that's like, I can do that. I can do what he's doing. He's up there being funny. I'm funny. All my friends think I'm funny. I'm gonna say something funny out loud at that guy right now and ruin the show for everybody. And that's the situation that you don't want to. You're tempted to, but you don't want to have that pull you away from your act, or at least in my experience. Because then you go to that guy, and now everybody else in the crowd who's paid to see your show is getting you having your set ruined by this guy, and you're like, well, now I'm just going to have fun with this guy. It's not, again, you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know if it's going to be funny or not.
True. You got to be able to sense the fact that, like, okay, this is not going to go where I need to go.
Yeah.
And you got to jump ship. You got to bail. Well, sometimes I don't bail, and then next thing you know, I've dug myself a hole, and it's the worst set of my life.
How many of the worst sets of your life do you think you've had?
More than I can remember.
More than you can remember?
Do you remember that show I brought you to, where it was the bar show, and when the host wasn't there because he was on a bus, and then the guy who ran the show brought me up and forgot to turn off the jukebox. So not only I was doing stand up to Pat Benatar, Hit Me With Your Best Shot, playing in the background.
I couldn't remember what song it was. For some reason, I thought it was ABBA, Dancing Queen, or something.
It was something like that.
Something really horrible that you're like, and it was almost louder than you.
It was definitely louder than me. And that's what people don't understand, and that's what people don't understand. But you know, at the end of the day, those are the shows that make you stronger. And then I opened for my friend's Netflix special, and it's like, oh, this is what it's all about.
This is why I
do this, because then you're so prepared, and then you go up in front of 2,000 people, and it's like taking candy from a baby.
2,000 people who, by the way,
are ready to laugh too, by the way.
And they paid good money to be in a place where they want to laugh. It's like going to like a haunted house and like you're like, I paid $50 to get in here, and I want
to get scared.
I want to pee my pants a little bit.
Yep.
Maybe even poop a little bit. But this is that, but with laughs. Did you ever work an office job ever?
At Equinox, I guess we consider that.
That was more an office job.
Yeah, because I was a salesman. All right.
Yeah. I mean, that's the brunt of my frustration with the workplace, and all the things that I had to endure were typically like mundane office-y stuff and emails and gripes like that.
I haven't asked you one question about yourself. I feel like
I mean, it's fine. I mean, you're the guest, and we're talking to you.
Why did you? What was a moment in your life when you're like, I want to do stand-up? I know you've told me this before. But I try not to remember anything you tell me.
I wouldn't either.
Okay.
I don't even remember the stuff that I say. I don't even remember what I told you. But I mean,
because by the way, if your audience doesn't know, you're very, very funny and very, very talented, and especially you've only been doing it for what?
A little over a year.
And yeah, I was about to say 3, and then F off, because you're really good I was terrible over a year. I was terrible. Not that I'm the greatest now, but wow, you're so good for over a year. I hate you more.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I hate you so much.
I hate you so much. Right now.
But yeah, no, I was pretty frustrated. My job was kind of a dead end, and it wasn't really going anywhere. So my wife, I'm lucky to have a very, very supportive person in my life, was like, hey, quit that and do the things that matter to you. And
we all need one of those.
You all should get one of those. You all should be as lucky as I am. And so I moved to Los Angeles. I went to film school. I moved to Los Angeles to be a writer, and specifically in the comedy genre. And I guess specifically got a little bit frustrated with writing really long form scripts and pilots and for TV shows and sending them out to agents and people. And it takes a painstakingly long time to hear back from them about the stuff that you wrote and whether or not it's funny. And I wanted to find out faster if I was funny, and stand-up is the easiest way to find out how funny you are immediately. You write a joke, you say it, and the audience will tell you right away if you're funny.
Yeah.
And stand-up's one of my like longest loves of my life. It's my favorite thing, and so I was like, this is finally the time. I've wanted to do this for so long. I should have started doing it the year that I moved here, and I'm stupid for not. But,
yeah, me too. I hear you.
But what's that phrase? It's the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago, but the second best time is right now. So I
never heard that before.
One
Was
day
that Nietzsche?
I think it was.
That's the only person I know.
Yeah,
Nietzsche.
Frederick and Nietzsche. Confucius, maybe. Maybe. So I just went. I just went and did an open mic, and it went well. I don't even remember what I said. I don't remember like the laughter situation. I know that I didn't bomb, and I was like, I can keep doing this. And I went a bunch in that first year or so, and kind of wanted to tie it into my Instagram page as well, because I do have I've cultivated a pretty big following for making fun of my job. And so like Tim Allen might be a good example of that. He was a comedian who was specifically doing like man humor, like work, like tools and manly stuff. And then he got Tool Time, Tool Time was the show on Home Improvement that he got.
Yeah.
But they were like, we could write up the show around this guy. And
That was the 80s.
this is a 90 late.
That was
He was doing stand up in the 80s, but
that was like the 80s, 90s. That was the thing back then.
And so
they made a show about Ray Romano and living in Queens.
yeah.
Look how simple that was.
And that's like one of the highest sold pilot songs of all time, or something like.
And Seinfeld too.
Don't check my math on that.
They don't do that anymore.
But I had amassed a pretty big following from making work jokes on Instagram and Twitter, and I was like, well, I'm just, instead of saying these to digital people that I don't know and like feeling validated from getting thousands of likes on a picture or whatever. I'm not trying to suck my own dick on my own podcast, but too late did it. But like, I'd rather go out and get 5 real laughs in a crowd from 5 real humans than get like 1,000 likes from people I don't know on Instagram. So that was why I was like, I'm doing this.
Now
for
you're
real.
alienating your fans on Instagram.
I'm not alienating my fans on Instagram. I love them, and if there have been a couple times that I've posted to, because I have a personal page as well as my Stupid Resumes page, and I've posted on that I'm like doing a show.
Do they know about the show you're doing? My show on November 19th.
That's like next week. Am I doing that?
Yeah.
Ooh,
You didn't know that, did you?
I did. You mentioned it like 80 months ago.
Not the 19th, the 21st.
Ooh, I need to make sure I'm in town for that. Hey, do you have a preference in red apple pear?
Yeah, you're on our show at the 21st, and Dennis is adamant that he's going to get a lot of people out for you since he was embarrassed on the last time.
Oh, we don't need to talk about it. It was fine. It was a great show.
The show was great. I'm just saying, Dennis, who's one of the funniest guys I know. He really likes you, by the way.
I really like. He's one of the funniest guys I know.
Yeah.
And we both know him, so that's right.
So there we go.
That's great. So anyways, that's my story with like the work stuff, and I in making fun of jobs have found a lot of other people hate their job as well. It's like that's why I got a pretty big following as quickly as I did. It's like that's one. No matter who you are, at some point in your life, you've had a job that you didn't like, and we can all unify and that together and on my page and just really share like our frustrations. And it's like, it doesn't have to be coming from a place of like absolute hate, but it's just like, hey, isn't it funny when people sign their emails like this or what? It's just stupid crap. And so one of the things I also want to do with this podcast is going to be how we end it if you want to.
I love ending podcasts.
One thing that no one likes doing is going on job interviews.
Thank God I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I did it for the crowd warm-up.
How would you? I mean, it's all lies in the first place. Like, you're just trying to sell your best self so that you can get money. Like, that's all a job interview is like, let me lie really quickly. Same with a resume. What's your resume situation like right now?
A work resume?
Just period. Well, yeah, not your acting resume, but
I don't have a work resume. My work resume would be the warm-up.
You mostly send out stuff like in the form of a reel.
I would send out a form of a reel, yeah.
Do you have a paper resume at all?
I haven't think I've had a paper resume since '97. That's not a joke. I don't think I've had a paper. I wouldn't even know what to write on a paper resume right
Exactly. Just lies.
Lies.
That's what all. Yeah. That's anyone's resume. It's just like a whole There was a joke that either me or someone else made a long time ago. It was like a resume is just a list of things that I never want to do again, and that's
So true.
yeah. Well, obviously I quit those jobs or I got fired from them, so they're here. They're on this paper as I'm letting you know I did them, but I don't. If they were great, I'd still be doing them. They're not, so I'm not anymore. So what I have right here is a bowl of. If you can see this,
I don't think you have enough.
Well, we're gonna go through them.
How many do I take one?
Sure. So
What's the rule?
I'm just gonna real quick. There, it's every. I got on Google, got on a couple like Forbes type sites, and pulled I think like 50 or 30 of the stupidest questions that people get in interviews, and they show up a lot. Like where do you see yourself in 5 years, and describe what's your greatest weakness. Describe yourself in 3 words. Just the dumbest questions that like when you get them in an interview, your best answer is to just roll your eyes. But if I do my job correctly with this podcast, and if it does get popular, what I want to have happen is that these questions just get eliminated from the zeitgeist, and interviewers will stop. They'll realize how stupid they are and stop asking them.
But then their jobs will become
sure. Well, just
insignificant.
all they would have to do is ask. A lot of these questions don't have anything to do with your abilities. You can take one.
I'm taking one.
Take one, read it, and what I want you to do instead of answering it, in a way that you would want, like you're trying.
I don't want to do that one.
You're trying to get a job.
This is the one that everyone gets.
Okay.
I mean, I can do it.
But answer it how you would answer it
as a job.
As a comedian. As how you would want to do it if you didn't desperately need a job, because people always give the bullshit answers.
They always give the bullshit.
And I want you to give the real answer, like what you should get, even sarcastically or just like hilariously answer this question. First of all, what's the question?
What's the title of your autobiography?
I didn't care so much for that one, but I threw it in there.
They actually asked that. What's the title of your autobiography?
I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know how to answer that.
But I didn't kill myself before 50.
Still got a few years.
that I made it this far. The title of my autobiography was. Wow.
Let's see what the one you didn't read was.
Now, where I see myself in 5 years?
Yeah, you did.
Where do I see myself in 5 years?
And that's only in there once, and I can't believe out of all those you drew this one first. But what's your funniest answer to where do you see yourself in 5 years?
My funniest answer to
the funniest people who are comedy fans. You remember Mitch?
Like the real answer or a funny answer?
Sure, but do you remember Mitch Hedberg?
Of course I remember. What was his joke?
He said he was asked in an interview, where do you see yourself in 5 years, and he said, celebrating the 5-year anniversary of you asking me that question.
So stupid.
It's so stupid, but that's when I hear that question, I can never not think of him saying that. And
I see myself in 5 years still living underneath you and your wife, walking around in heels, and then you're gonna have a child. So then I'm gonna hear
crying.
I'm gonna hear crying. I'm gonna hear 4 feet, and then I'm gonna realize, oh my god,
I need to get my life together.
By the way, that's where I see myself 5 years. Saying,
I hope
I was saying like this. I wish I didn't do his podcast 5 years ago.
Yeah, because now it didn't help me out in any way.
Didn't help me out. It made me stressed for 5 years that I don't have a goal. I hate that people are like, what's your 5-year goal? I don't know. What's tomorrow?
I don't know what I'm doing this week. Well, that's a lot. If you see that online, a lot of people are like, man, I don't even know what I'm doing Friday. And by the way, Friday's tomorrow. But yeah, I don't know. Like, there's the funnier answers that people say that I don't think anyone has ever done in real life is be like, where do I see myself in 5 years? Firing you. I see myself in your job because I've just fired you. No one says that in an interview.
But I wish someone would say that in an interview.
Well, they wouldn't get the job. It'd be laughable. It'd be so. That's like it's a clever. Not even. It's a thing that you say that it's just such a lie. When people are like, if I ever quit this job, you know how I'm going out? I'm going to take a shit on the boss's desk. No, you're not. Hey, that's not a thing that people do. It's funny to say, but you're never going to shit on somebody's desk. You want to do another one?
Yeah. I like what line?
Your autobiography? I haven't killed myself yet.
If hired, how would you blank do the job we'd be hiring you to do? With the least amount of effort possible.
Oh, yeah. So
because when I worked at Equinox, I did the least amount of effort, and I made the most money I've ever made.
Well, I think that's a Bill Gates quote. He says, like, if I want something done, I'll ask a lazy person to do it because they'll find a way to do it with the least minimum effort whatsoever.
Yeah.
But this one makes me think of. Did you watch The Office?
I'm in. Parts of it. I feel like I'm not making these answers funny.
It's okay.
No, you're supposed to say they're okay.
I'm not putting pressure on you to be funny. You're more of a crowd work guy. Next time you're on the podcast, I'll hire like 25 people to just sit back there and do that. But, I mean, I did tell you a couple questions before the podcast started, but these I wanted to see if we could just riff a little bit. Maybe this is the first time I'm doing this.
Do another one.
Maybe I throw this away.
By the way,
you
didn't throw it away. Don't waste it on because my jokes aren't funny. Nope.
But this anyway with this one, Will Arnett is when Steve Carell left the show, and Will Arnett was interviewing for the new management position, and he's like, I have a 3-step process to increase sales in this office, and they're like, what is it? And he's like, I'm gonna tell you now. If you hire me, I'll tell you. Mm-hmm. So it's like to ask someone how well they're gonna perform at the job. You're basically like giving away the keys to the king, like without. You don't get the what's the cow milk one? Getting the
yeah, but but the Pentagon does it all the time. But like tells ISIS our weaknesses.
I've never interviewed for a job at the Pentagon.
Oh, you should. I've done it. Yeah.
And you got it right.
I got the job. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Congrats.
Yeah, because I look really because they're like you're really good at crowd work, so you could probably really talk ISIS down.
Could you crowd work ISIS into just stopping their behavior?
You're like, yeah, we saw your crowd work, and wow, go do ISIS.
All right, do one more, and let's call it a Thursday.
Nope, let's do all these in the ball.
There's like 75 in there, and I'm gonna put these back because if maybe someone else in the future has a better answer to what do you see yourself in 5 years? Than you.
What were you making at your last position? Close your eyes and what do you see?
Well, that's what were you making? Close your eyes and what do you see? Well, that's a fucked up question to ask somebody because first of all, I don't think you're allowed to.
Is I don't know, is $1 trillion
too high?
It's too high.
If I tell you I was making
how about this?
$1 billion in my last company, would you believe me?
Mm-hmm.
And then
I'd be like this. What are you making now? Double it.
The person interviewing me, who presumably has a better job than me because you're interviewing me.
What do you make?
Double it. Times it by 3.
And then divided by pi.
And
then you got me.
And then you got me.
Do you have an abacus? Because I can do it in an abacus.
No, I don't.
Guys brings an abacus up and just starts.
I think I've seen some people do, again, something that people lie about. Like, let's say you're making $50K and you go interview for a job and you.
When I get a credit card, they ask me how much to make. I lie about 30 grand higher.
I always round up to the nearest 6-figure thing.
Yeah, I'm always at 6 figures. Like, how much do you make? I'm like 120.
128.
Yeah.
No, you always got to make it a dumb number so it's believable. 126.
126.
Yeah, before taxes.
Because you know why? Because I want the person who taking my because I feel so insecure. I want them to think that I'm rich.
Yeah, and it's so stupid because that person doesn't even know you.
Care.
And also, I mean, I don't know this for sure, but they could find out how much money you make.
They could probably figure it out.
They could probably be like, I'm seeing your statements, and you don't make anywhere near 126, buddy. But nice try.
Because I want to impress the person I'll never meet in life.
I think if you wanted to be like nice about it, you could be like, well, or like, what are you looking to make at this job? Could be like an answer. And you're like, well, I was making 58 at my last job, and I really like to not take a pay cut.
I was making 58. I was thinking maybe we could go to 48 because I thought, you know what, that at 10 extra thousand, I really don't need.
Well, that's a thing people like you and I run into in our industry is that, like, yeah, if you really wanted a non-industry like accounting job, you could probably make some pretty good money. But there's always comes the coolness factor of working in entertainment that they're like, we can pay you less because you work at Jimmy Kimmel or wherever. Shout out to Jimmy Kimmel, I guess.
Jimmy Kimmel's one looks great.
Don Barris, one of the greatest. He goes.
He does crowd warm up too.
He does. He's like the 1 a.m. slot
and just does crowd warm up
in the OR every single night of his life just to stay sharp and be like a really good.
I've seen him. Guy. He does crowd warm up and he's great.
My favorite thing that he does is you typically ask people like where they're from.
Mm-hmm. What does he say? And
that's like it's a crowd work, maybe like a magic trick a little bit. Is like you by trade. We travel a lot for our job, and we've seen a lot of places. So if you say a place, there's a good chance I know a little factoid about that place. Mm-hmm. But if you go to Don and he doesn't know the place, ask me where I'm from.
Where are you from?
No, actually, I'm gonna be asking you.
Yeah,
where are you from?
New Jersey.
No, I had sex there once. Where are you from? Yeah, it goes to the next one. Like that's if you don't have an answer, and you're just like, yeah. I had sex there one time. It's a good joke that he does, and I had my parents with. I took last time my parents
Good
came to LA. They had never seen a live taping of a show, so Jimmy Kimmel's right down the street. So went over there, and he did that 3 or 4 times. And happy to say that my 60-plus-year-old parents found that reoccurring bit to be hilarious.
He kept saying, "I've had sex there once."
Birmingham. I had sex there once. Where are you from, sir? Australia? Prawns. Or whatever. Like, what do you guys call shrimp down there? Yeah, it's prawns. It's not shrimp. Anyway, but
That guy's sharp because he does Kimmel every day.
yeah. Do you ever get? Have you ever asked an audience member where they're from and didn't like know the place or know how to respond to that? Someone was like, "Yeah, I'm from Afghanistan." Oh, what's that like?
I've done this. I'd be like, "Hey, any East Coasters?" And I talk about New Jersey, and then no one respond. And then like maybe 40 seconds later, he goes, "I'm from New Jersey."
Where were you?
I go,
40 seconds
"Where
ago?"
were you when I was eating it?" About 37 seconds ago.
Do you say eating it?
Yeah, eating it because I can't swear. I was like, "Where were you?"
Oh, you can't swear?
No, I can't swear. You gotta be very clean. Very, very. I don't swear at all.
That's good to know.
You cannot swear.
Don does not have the same. It's a late night show versus your daytime.
You
game
cannot.
show.
I cannot. I said shit once.
What's that spell?
It's
not
okay.
very smart.
I said shit once, and
cool.
I over the mic, and it was just I don't know why I used it just to punch up my hilarity, and they're like, "You can't say that."
Were you reprimanded? Okay.
I was reprimanded. I was like, okay, but it's actually great training because in my brain, as a comic, you have that Rolodex going, and it's like when I do warm up, you're nope, don't want to say nope. Okay, I can say that. Because otherwise, because you're on the mic and it's the speakers throughout the whole studio. Everyone can hear you.
Yeah.
So as soon as you're on the mic, you're the voice of God. Everyone can hear you.
You are
Everyone.
You are God to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think.
And I one time said I misquoted a number, and then it was Roseanne Barr's ex-husband. He
Tom Arnold.
Tom Arnold was like, yeah, nah, he's wrong. He yelled something from the audience.
Oh, he was on one of the.
He was one of the
comedians on the show.
yeah. He corrected me, so that's when I was like, I better just get my facts right.
That's great. Well, any final thoughts? We're good. We did.
Did I get the job?
You got the job of.
Did you hire me? Would you hire me if this was a job interview?
What was the job that you were applying for?
Mm-hmm.
What's the hypothetical job that you were applying for?
Best friend.
Yeah, you got it.
Really?
Yeah. I actually had an opening for that, and you're in.
Because you're on my list for 2023. Because I am so full.
You're pretty full until then. I can wait until then.
Cool. Hopefully we're still neighbors, unless they jack the rent another $17,000, since they can do that in this area.
Yeah, I do plan to stay here for a while. So if you are going to do that as well, we'll be neighbors pretty much indefinitely. Like, there's not a better place.
I love. I'm not going anywhere.
I love this place.
I love my place.
Tell the people at home where they can find you on social media. What you got coming up? Anything?
I've got shows galore coming up. You can find me. It's my first and last name for everything. So it's Darren Capozzi, DarrenCapozzi. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook,
Twitch,
TikTok,
Vine,
MySpace,
MySpace,
LinkedIn. Do you know my favorite? My favorite crowd work joke I do to people?
Yeah.
You ever seen me do that when I see a straight couple? I go, "You guys a couple? You're so serious. Where'd you meet? LinkedIn?" Every time.
Works every time.
Every time.
My favorite one that you do is you're like, "What do you do for work, sir?" I don't see it.
Oh, what do you say? I don't see it.
I don't see it.
Remember when that manager did that?
Yeah, I'm a talent manager. I don't see it.
I don't see it.
Yeah, never me.
By the way, you could crush an actress's dreams. Like, what are you an actress? I don't see it. Yeah, crush someone's dreams like that.
And you do that a lot, I think.
I love doing that.
Yeah.
Because it sets me, not to keep the podcast going, because it sets me up for one of my jokes.
That one?
Yeah, it sets me up for my casting joke.
All right.
Yeah, if you're wondering. The genius behind me.
You are a genius.
Thank you.
Darren, thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to
Always a
have
pleasure.
you live directly above me.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, guys.